hard to tell sometimes, isn't it?
We are live. I think it's live. It's setting up your meeting thing. I'm just going to check the Facebook.
Yep, we're live.
Or do you check on your phone? Yeah.
Check on my phone too. It usually takes a couple of minutes from us looking at the screen to it being on the phone. So be careful what you say.
Yep, we're on. We're on.
On.
We're on.
Awesome.
Yay.
Please stay working. Right, let's come back to the screen. Cool. We are now streaming live. Welcome everyone. If you are live on Facebook, give us a thumbs up so that we know that you're there. We're really excited today. We're welcoming Dr. Robyn Charlton from Dr. Robyn Yoga, who is going to talk to us all about anxiety, which for a lot of us, we know you might be absolutely fine, and as soon as you hit perimenopause, everything all just goes nuts and you think you're losing your mind, and all of a sudden you might be suffering from anxiety and worry and stress and overwhelmed, and you've never felt like that before. So Dr. Robyn is going to talk to us a little bit about her own experience and about anxiety and our transition that we're going through, and some fantastic tips on what you can do. So welcome, Robyn. Really pleased that you could come and join us.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Andrea. Really excited to be here today. Really and have a discussion about this time of our lives, really. Yeah.
Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your own journey?
I am a mother of 3 children, as you can see by all the artwork behind me. So that's the first thing. And I'm also a doctor of mental health. So I worked with mums and babies in my last job. I did what's called perinatal psychiatry. And recently just trained as a yin yoga teacher. But I guess my own journey with menopause actually started when I was going to that job at maternal mental health at Green Lane, you know, getting up early in the morning, trying to be the kind of best doctor to my clients, the best mum to my kids, the best wife, traveling, and then kind of starting to go into the menopause and actually really feeling really burnt out, and you know, I started to have those hot flashes and waking at night and getting my sleep disrupted, and so I've been on that journey. So I haven't been working for the last 3 years in the city. Been working on my new venture, which I'm really excited about. And I also have kind of discovered lately that I've got Hashimoto's, so I've got the weight gain kind of stuff that goes on, and I think that kind of anxiety that you do feel that you don't really acknowledge when you go into perimenopause may have contributed a little bit to that feeling of burnout. And the most courageous thing I've ever done for myself was to say, you know, let's stop and reset all of this and look at doing things in a different way. So that's been my journey with menopause. I'm still going through it. I still wake at 3 or 4 in the morning and have to do some strategies at 3 or 4 in the morning to get back to sleep. You know, I still get hot flashes and things like that, but it's a little bit, it's kind of acceptance of some symptoms really that's helping me get through that. So I have to walk the walk myself. I use all these the strategies I'm going to talk to you about now are things that I use myself. So in the middle of the night when I wake up, I do the deep breathing, knowing that when I breathe out, I'm kind of activating my parasympathetic nervous system and calming myself down. And I do progressive muscle relaxation, all those things. But I'll start and say and talk about it kind of like I used to, when I was being a doctor, how I would do it. If somebody came to me with anxiety, we would do an assessment of why, and then we'll do formulation. And there's always a multifactorial reason why people are feeling anxious. So it's not just down to one thing. So usually there are biological reasons, and then there's psychological reasons, and then there's social reasons. And what we do from that as a psychiatrist is you do a formulation. So you say, why am I at this point in time feeling the way that I'm feeling? And what are the things that I can change and do something about? And what are the things that I guess it's like that serenity prayer. Hey, Sarah, what are the things, accept the things I cannot change and change the things that I can. Yeah, so they so I think in the menopause, it's the first thing to realize is that it's normal for us to feel this way. Like we have because of the hormonal thing, and you guys would know that. I think you guys have talked a little bit about that, about mental health. The drop of the estrogen and the progesterone as we're going into perimenopause. So when we feel anxious, the hormone that's most involved in anxiety is serotonin, as also in depression, but more in anxiety. And estrogen is needed for the production and the transportation of serotonin around our body. So when our estrogen starts to drop, our serotonin levels will start to drop. And so it's kind of normal to feel this way. It's normal to have this roller coaster of feelings and emotions. And so what we're wanting to do is to target the serotonin, but also what we're wanting to do is to take us out of that stress, that flight or fight nervous system. So the adrenaline and the cortisol as well. So if you're thinking about a treatment plan, you're saying, what am I trying to target? The reasons are, I'm feeling anxious as there's a hormonal reason, the biological reason, but also we are also in that part of our lives where there's a lot of psychological stresses. I don't know if people want to put their hands up and say, you know, you're looking after, I know you guys are trying to do a business and have kids at home and homeschool them. Yeah, that's why I've got my earpods in now so that you don't hear my kids fighting about school work in the background. And then some of us are also looking after older parents. So we're kind of in that sandwich generation, and we're trying to be the best mother, wife, everything to everybody else. And so we're constantly in that flight or fight system. We're constantly in our sympathetic overdrive. So we're constantly doing that. So those are the two kind of hormones that we're playing with. We've got low serotonin, and we've got all of this adrenaline and noradrenaline and cortisol running around in our system. So yeah, and we're probably also worried about our children growing up in this generation, worried about teenagers, and I guess talking about what's happening, the uncertainty of COVID-19, really, you know, that kind of puts us a little bit into that flight or fight. And a lot of people have been affected financially from this, and they don't know about their future. So, you know, you've got a lot of hormonal reasons and psychological and social reasons why you're going to be feeling this way. Social reasons are that, you know, I'm missing my cuddles. I'm missing my oxytocin. I get it from my doggies and my my children, but I miss cuddling my parents. I miss cuddling my friends. I miss having a coffee with my friends, all those things. So yeah, so there's
for those of us that are introverts. So all of a sudden we're now in a house full of people who are in your bloody bubble, because we've all got our own individual bubbles as well as our family bubbles. and all of a sudden people are invading your bubble, and you can't. The only time you get peace and quiet is if you go to the loo and you lock the door. And then they're banging on the door wanting to talk to you. I mean, my kids are teenagers and they're still in my face like 5-year-olds. And for me, it's huge because I just need my time, and I find that really hard.
Yeah, and the to-do list that you used to get through pre-COVID is not the same as the to-do, and we have huge expectations of ourselves. I mean, we're our own worst enemy sometimes, I think. So it's about, you know, looking at that and seeing what's realistic in these times for us to achieve, because we're such a doing culture. And I think that this time has given us the opportunity to actually just be and realize, you know, what we really need to be doing in our lives as well. So, yeah. It's a bit of
media plays a role too, because that's a huge distraction. So one it can it can become a distraction, and two, do you think it can also increase anxiety because of looking at what's out there?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the doing and filling our lives with doing all the time definitely increases dopamine, so it increases that feeling of reward, but it also activates the sympathetic nervous system, and so that that's why you're feeling rushed and anxious as well. So
I think
for myself, I mean, that's why I had some very special friends in my life that said, do you think you can keep on keeping on in this way, you know, getting up at 5 in the morning and battling through traffic and coming home late at night so I could get around the traffic, and then taking the kids to 5,000 after school activities and getting involved at school and being the super mum. And so I had a great husband and a great friend that said, do you think this is sustainable in the long term? Yeah, and is it for you? Because it wasn't for me. It was for my children and my
But people sometimes have to be really honest with themselves about what changes they need to make and be brave. And sometimes you've got to make hard decisions about the way you live your life and change that, even though it's not easy and it's not pleasant. You kind of got to look at, well, do I carry on feeling the way I feel? What's going to continue? You know, what am I going to be like in a year's time if I carry on, or do I have to make some really hard choices and be brave?
Yeah. So I guess the biggest message that I wanted to, that we wanted to, all three of us wanted to get out from this webinar was to put on your own oxygen mask first, you know, like they say in the plane, to stop and nurture yourself and know that you're doing the best for those in your life that really matter, by really taking stock of what your treatment plan is going to be for how you're feeling at the moment, or how you want to live your life purposely and according to your values, really. And to do that, you need to stop and literally breathe. Yeah. So I guess for me that when I realized that was when I had my second child, was 9 months old. My husband was made redundant, and it was quite a really stressful time in our lives. But my second child had an immune system disorder, and he never slept, and so I couldn't get sleep, and you know, I was almost beside myself. And my other child was only 20 months, so it was quite a huge thing. And my husband decided that he would, it's a full-time job for your husband to find another job when you're in that position. But we also had a property next door that needed to be done up. So he would go each day to that property and do his job and look for a job. And we were all a little bit stressed. But it didn't, then I kind of realized he's at home, I can go for a walk in the morning. And that was, I mean, that was a huge transition for me, because before that, I mean, I had pre-children exercise, but I exercised the dog, but that going for a walk by myself without anybody else in the morning, having that space, that thinking space to get out there and do things. I think I had a circadian rhythm sleep disorder from not getting any sleep, and I think having getting out first thing in the morning and having sunlight on my eyes started to get my circadian rhythms back into, I'll talk about that a little bit later, into rhythm, and I kind of started to breathe again, just from like that one thing about, yes, I can, you know, I give myself permission to have an hour's walk for myself in the morning. And it wasn't that my husband wasn't supportive, it was just that I wasn't asking for it. I've become better over the years. Yeah. So I guess that's the example of how making a little change like that can actually lead to a lot of other changes in your life as well.
And asking for help, because we're not always very good at doing that either. We kind of feel like we need to take on the responsibility for everyone else, and we don't want to say I need help or I just want a break or and as much as we like our husbands to be mind readers, they're not. And they have different languages of love too. So, or all the people that are important in our lives, so we do need to communicate these things and ask for them, and know that we actually deserve them, really. Give ourselves permission to do that. So with regards to the biological things that we can do to increase our serotonin and turn off our flight or fight nervous system, I guess the first thing that's really important is sleep. Sleep, throughout my 20 years about being a psychiatrist, sleep is one of the most important things to be a protective factor for our mental health. But you know, hot flushes disturb our sleep, and we do get sleep problems when we do get into the menopause. But there are things that we can do. So what I was talking about before is our circadian rhythm. So we need our melatonin to be high at night to sleep, and then 12 hours later it needs to be low for us to wake up. And that's the normal circadian rhythm. But what happens when we are on our devices and our blue lights late at night, our melatonin, those devices decrease that melatonin, and so we're going to have problems going to sleep. So if you are having a little bit of problems with sleep, maybe turn off your devices for a whole kind of hour before you go to sleep. Watch TV with the lights dimmed down, that makes a huge difference. Don't take your phone to bed, all of those kind of things. And then the other thing with the melatonin in the morning is to get outside first thing in the morning, because that decreases the melatonin, and then your natural rhythm of your body means that it increases at night for you to sleep. So that's the way that melatonin works. So the best two things you can do for your sleep is get off your devices, and then even if it's just to get out and have a cup of coffee for half an hour, you need to get the lights on the back of your eyes, on your retina, for that to happen. And so going for a walk in the sun first thing in the morning, asking permission, having your own time, it's doing all those things for you, for your sleep. If you wake up at night, a good thing is to do that deep breathing. So if we wake up at night, what keeps us awake is our thoughts, and then our thoughts activate our sympathetic nervous system. So taking our minds away from our thoughts.
and doing that deep breathing. And the breathing, your in-breath activates your sympathetic nervous system, and your out-breath activates your parasympathetic nervous system. So it's about trying to extend your out-breath. But even just concentrating on your breath takes you away from your thoughts, actually, and then that activates it, and doing that can put you back to sleep a lot quicker than if you get caught into the stories of your mind in the middle of the night, or like with your hot flushes about what they mean for you as well. Just doing the breathing, doing some relaxation. The other biological thing, which Sarah, you can talk to, you guys can, about this, is about your gut microbiome. That's your area of expertise. To increase your serotonin is about having a healthy gut. There are way more serotonin receptors in your gut than in your brain. So looking after your gut health is really, really important for anxiety. And I know Sarah probably can talk to you more than I can about this topic, about the gut health. And having foods rich in serotonin, like chickpeas and milk and tryptophan and all of those kind of things. Do you want to say anything about that, Sarah? Is that your area?
I've already talked about that, but yeah, it's really interesting, the research that's coming out, and I know that they've done research on those lovely little the Gucci mice, and where they actually they had two separate sets of mice, and one set were kind of normal mood, and the others were kind of showing that they basically had anxiety, or they were showing that they had anxiety. And they took the poo from one set of mice and they gave it to the normal set of mice, and those mice then started to show symptoms of anxiety. So there's obviously some link between our gut bacteria and our mood. And so I know that they're trying to work out what specific bacteria can create anxiety in us. So it's really interesting. So gut and diet, massive.
And there is does wearing sunglasses cut out the light onto your retina?
Yeah, don't wear sunglasses in the morning. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that was a big learning for me too. Take your sunglasses off. Yeah, but you can put them on after half an hour if you really want to, but to get that benefit, take them off in the morning. Yeah. Good question.
Orange tinted sunglasses specifically for people who are like work in the evening or have got to use their devices in the evening. I don't know if they work or not, but I've seen them for sale. And I know people that work shifts, you can actually wear sunglasses to try and play around with the circadian rhythm, so that you can prepare for, like, when you're going home, you wear sunglasses in order to kind of prepare for going to bed.
Do you mean blue light glasses or sunglasses?
Yeah, blue blocking.
Blue light.
You can get blue blocking.
They're orange, aren't they? I think they're orange tinted.
Oh.
Yeah, my kids have all got them, even though they don't have. Some of them have got problems and need to wear glasses. But my optometrist was recommending that for kids on screens. As well as always looking, for your eye health, always look. There's lots of kids that are having problems with their eyes. But she was saying that there's some studies coming. There's a whole big other stuff about the impact of blue light on cognition and memory and learning. And so that she was recommending they have blue blocking glasses. I mean, they're on their screens all the time now.
Yeah.
You get blue light filters as well, but I don't know how well they work either.
What's that?
You can get blue light filters. Lots of laptops and phones have blue light filters, so you can have it on permanent blue light filter.
Oh, okay.
Because we have that, and in the evening, if I'm working, I have a filter put on my computer is timed so that it goes on to its filter in the evening if I'm working. But I don't know how much that works.
It's a worry with the teenagers because they're just constantly on their device. Like, it's like a permanent attachment to their body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they suffer from anxiety and they don't sleep.
Yeah, well, this morning Taylor was up at 2 o'clock in the morning, just getting a snack before he went to sleep.
Yeah, that's a very circadian rhythm, a load of good.
That was on Sunday night. Yeah.
I mean, the teenagers' circadian rhythms are a bit different anyway. They do have
vampires.
Yeah,
I know.
But yeah, there's a lot of research going out about and psychological well-being for kids about not having devices in rooms for that reason, but a lot of other reasons as well. A safe zone, easier said than done, but I think it's a pretty good way to start. Yeah, because I mean, if they're going to want to look at it and then they get caught into it, and then they get it's the same thing.
We have to be their role models to do it ourselves.
Yeah, we do.
Sure that we're not on it more than they are.
Yeah. Walk the walk. Yeah. So melatonin is also needed in the production of serotonin. So if you're mucking around with your circadian rhythms, you're going to get that anxiety as well. So yeah, and I think I don't know how many studies are done on that, but I think that the emotional dysregulation is the prevalence is going up in teenagers, and I suspect that part of this is going to be the answer to that reason. So the other biological thing is that movement. So Andrea knows this. So doing exercise increases serotonin and also endorphins and feel good hormones. But mindful movements, so movements such as yoga, and that's why I love yin yoga, also secretes a neurohormone called GABA, which actually turns off the sympathetic nervous system. So that's why you feel, if you do a yoga class, it's why you have that feeling of calmness afterwards, because it's actually a biological reason, as well as if you're doing the breathing and all the other things in a yoga class.
Can I ask a question? So that's because I know when I used to teach yoga, people would come in, they'd do the yoga, and then when you do the relaxation, the yoga nidra at the end, a lot of the people that would come in that were all kind of hyperactive, your A-type people, they would all get up and go because they didn't want to do the relaxation. But would the GABA, would that be increased largely because of the relaxation? Is the relaxation at the end of the yoga, and I know yin yoga is slightly different, but is that kind of really key to getting that relaxed feeling at the end?
Yeah, the relaxation in itself, like progressive muscle relaxation, yoga nidra, that in itself increases GABA more, but also actually stimulates the vagal nervous system. So it actually stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system in of itself. Right. So, just little things like if you're feeling really stressed, just actually actively relaxing each of the muscles of your face. I know we're not allowed to touch our faces now, but that's why kids have blankies that touch their faces, or people touch their faces, because that's got a huge amount of vagal afferents to it, and just by relaxing that part of your body sends you into the calming nervous system. So the GABA, that's from the whole class, but you've also got it on steroids by doing the relaxation at the end. You're turning off your flight or fight system. You're increasing your serotonin. Yeah, so if they could sit with that discomfort of not doing anything, you are doing yourself so much more benefit. And then studies show that when you're in that relaxed frame of mind, that actually you're more productive. You get into what's called the flow, and your mind is less distracted, and you can be more productive in your life and see things more clearly and make decisions that are not out of your reactive condition pathways. You know, you can respond to your challenges in your life rather than always being on autopilot reactivity. Yeah. So that's the that's the biological reasons. So some of the psychological things you can do for yourself is what we talked about before. We talked about the breathing. So how your in-breath activates that flight or fight. So what you find is if you wear a watch, or there's some smart watches out there, or there's some apps, you can probably ask your kids about this. You can actually train yourself so to have what's called increased heart rate variability. So you can train yourself to extend your out breath and to activate that calming nervous system. So the way they do that is the watches have a thing that you can see that your heart rate goes up when you breathe in, and then it goes out, and then it goes down when you breathe out. And I think there's that also that new app by John Kirwan. I don't know whether he's got that on that, but he has also got the breathe in, breathe out kind of. It's quite a visual thing to help you with your breathing, rather than a lot of people breathe up here in the chest as well, which also stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. So it's about slowing your breathing down and breathing into your tummy as well.
And making your tummy blow out like a balloon.
Balloon, yeah. And there's a lot of there's lots of meditations on Insight Timer. There's Smiling Mind for kids that can help them learn how to do that. At the moment, my 8-year-old's a little bit anxious about what's happening. He's got stuff happening for him about it, and we do Smiling Mind every night with him. Actually really helps me too. So that's the benefit, just getting into bed and, you know, maybe doing something like that with your kids as well as yourself.
There's some really cool stuff out there, but for kids. I think I can't remember the name of it. Calming Kids. There's a whole thing out there with lots of different meditations and breathing techniques. I think it's Calm Kids. And it was really kiddie friendly. My kids used to love it.
And there's the only one I've used is Smiling Mind, but there are heaps. There's heaps of. It's just about finding what works for you and your family. Why I like the Smiling Mind is it has the bubble journey, which is all about breathing into your tummy and then learning how to breathe properly, and then sending that bubble to each part of your body and relaxing it, like a progressive muscle relaxation. But I'm sure there's heaps and heaps of them out there.
Progressive muscle relaxation, what do you mean by
So
that?
that's about tensing and relaxing each muscle in your body, and we can do that. There's and some of them, and so it's getting that feeling of what it's like to tense, and then that feeling of relaxation. So if you're wanting to, you know, maybe tense up your shoulders, if you want to do that with me now, we tense up our shoulders and then relax, and you can see the difference between the relaxing and the relaxing of your muscles actually activates the calming nervous system as well. So just going through each part of your body, or you can either do progressive muscle relaxation, or you can do what's called a body scan, and that does the same thing, about bringing your attention to different parts of your body and just actively relaxing them and letting go of your tension, letting go of your thoughts, letting go of everything. So that's progressive muscle relaxation in itself. And when I was working as a psychiatrist, if people were really came in crisis, that's the first thing that I would that I found the most effective to start practicing on a regular basis, even before meditation or anything, because you can tell if you practice it for a week, and rate yourself how anxious you're feeling at the start of the week and the end of the week, you can see a massive change just in the first week in your anxiety levels, and that only takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes. My teenager comes back to that one the most as well for her when she's having difficulties as well. So yeah, I would start with, you know, something like that. Being aware of where you're breathing when you are breathing, when you are feeling anxious, and maybe consciously taking a 3, you know, having that 3 breath break for yourself during the day. Maybe put post-it notes around because we forget to breathe. So maybe if you are feeling a little bit of that, you know, perimenopausal, menopausal anxiety, put post-it notes around on your mirror, on your fridge, everywhere, or put a timer on your timer. There's apps there that will remind you to take a deep breath. I know that smartwatches do that too. Like, yeah, they remind you just to take that deep breath, and it's a really good thing to do. Yeah, and maybe just starting with that nightly progressive muscle relaxation, and maybe thinking about thinking about getting into some mindfulness practices. So research has shown that people that do an 8-week course of mindfulness, they can actually change the structure and the function of their brain. So the thing that's responsible for anxiety, which is a little bit in your midbrain. So so if you look at your hand, this part of your brain is your flight or fight nervous system and the brain stem. This is your midbrain, which has the amygdala and the hippocampus is the memory, and then that's your prefrontal cortex. And research has actually shown that by doing an 8-week course of mindfulness, but you can also start to just practice as you can, the part in your brain, in your midbrain here called the amygdala, which is responsible for emotions, that actually doesn't fire up as much. So they do something called functional MRI. Mm-hmm. So when you're anxious, it's all lights up, and after 8 weeks of doing a mindfulness course, it doesn't light up and it becomes smaller. And the hippocampus, which is the part that's responsible for memory, becomes bigger. And the part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex and your brain that's responsible for good decision making and rational decision making becomes bigger as well. So that's just with an 8-week course of mindfulness, that you're actually rewiring your brain for better well-being and health. And so, I mean, those people, you know, that's the evidence-based thing. This is what we want to do, but we all know that just having some informal mindfulness practices can start to help. So just using practices to bring yourself back into the present moment all the time, kind of. One of the ones that I quite like is about thinking of yourself like a tree, and you ground yourself into the ground. You breathe like you would, like a breathing tree would breathe, and then you think of your arms as the 5 senses or 5 things. So you look at 5 things that you can see or hear in your environment, and that just brings you into the present moment. So ground myself through my roots, feel my feet on the floor, take a big breath, and then look at 5 things I can see or 5 things I can hear. That's a really good informal mindfulness practice, just things that bring you back into the present moment. The breath brings you back into the present moment. Thinking of yourself like another one that I do in my yin yoga class and meditation that I really love is called the mountain meditation. So that's about thinking of yourself as a mountain and observing everything in your life that goes past, that the seasons of your life will pass. That the way that you're feeling, you're not always going to feel this way, that it will pass, that the storm that you might be in at the moment, the sun will come out, that the autumn will go into winter and the winter into spring, and, that you don't change. Even though you're going through that stuff in the menopause, you essentially don't change. And then you can do other programs to rewire your brain, and that's where my passion is. I mean, all of these things are my passion, but the yin yoga, teaching people how to change the structure and function of their brains, turn on their nervous systems, increase their serotonin release for a yin yoga, is what I like to do. So we start the class with a meditation to get people into the present moment. We do the class themed on a different mind fitness skill that people might be learning, and that's how to rewire their brains, and such as gratitude. Gratitude's a huge big thing, and I know you guys do that in your program. And for the flight or fight system, the fitness skills that we learn are you kind of recognizing that you have anxiety and accepting it as being part of during menopause, with self-compassion. Self-compassion is a huge mind fitness skill to use. Ways to calm yourself, which we've been talking about. We teach that through our yin yoga classes. And then resourcing ourselves with grit. Grit and resilience is a thing at the moment to get through things. And like what I was talking about at the start, having the courage to make the changes in our life that we know that we can change, and also the courage to accept the things in our lives that we can't change. That takes a lot of courage as well sometimes, because sometimes part of acceptance is fighting and running away from things in our lives a bit, and sometimes it takes a lot of courage just to sit with that discomfort in our lives. And that's why I like yin, because yin is about physically holding a stretch for a period of time, and you're sitting with this physical discomfort, but you realize, but you don't, if you push yourself too much, you push into pain. So that's like us in life. If we keep on pushing, we're pushing ourselves into pain. Sometimes if we step back from that physical discomfort, our body actually opens up. So sometimes if we step back in life, our body, our lives open up. And we realize that the discomfort, if we look at it like a kind of a curious scientist and don't get involved in the stories in our minds around it, that actually the nature of our discomfort changes and passes and goes away sometimes when we look at it like that. So, so that's it. And then the social part. So it's biological, psychological, social, really important for us to be connected. The World Health Organization says that's one of the biggest factors in the prevention of depression and anxiety. So even though we're physically distant, make sure that we still have our social connections with people and foster them. Yeah.
I mean, I personally have found during this time, I know that everyone is on social media, and sometimes people look at social media as can be a bad thing. In some ways, depending on what you're watching and what you're reading and what you're looking at, it is. But I think during this time, it's been amazing. I think that all the things that people have been doing, that you see on the news, like the did you see the news the other night? And they did was it like a it was like a singing, like a karaoke thing or something. They had a competition, and like everyone doing like the family TikToks and the building the things in the family and creating exercise things outside, and the competitions that have been going on and playing through 7 Sharp and all those kind of, it's just been fantastic. Like you would have never have seen that before. You would have never seen any of that. And it's been really, like, I think it's actually been really joyful and really, really good.
There's a lot of creativity, eh?
Yeah, like so much fun stuff and positivity and people getting really creative. And 7 Sharp have been really good at putting up all these things and videos of people doing stuff at home and competitions. And yeah, it's just been, I think that side of it during this time, we would have never seen that if this hadn't have happened.
And also the social connection through it too, because I know you could like Zoom and FaceTime and like kids, at least they could talk to their friends every day.
Yeah.
Where if we didn't have that, they wouldn't. They'd be even more, you know, climbing the walls.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we've had Zoom parties for people. That was it.
Yeah, we wouldn't have done that before. Like now with our family, every weekend we've been having quiz nights.
Yeah.
So Zoom quiz night. So we all meet on Zoom and we have a quiz night and every weekend. And it's been like, we never would have done that before. So, you know, I think that sometimes social media and, you know, all this gets a bit of a bad rap, but...
how you use it though, eh?
Pardon?
How you use it. It's like a lot.
How you use it, yeah. It's
totally, whether you're doing it mindfully or
exactly, yeah, exactly. Because there's been a lot of really ugly stuff too, like a lot of really ugly posts and horrible, you know, things going on. But you know, yeah, it's what you choose to look at, right? It's what you choose to look at. It's what you choose to focus on. But for me, I think that side of it has been, I think that's been great. Like we would have never have done all this stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of like touch base on that with the social media, and it's just what you choose in life, you know, what you choose to focus on, and yeah, we're all going to have bad days and bad moments and bad times, but I think so. Yeah, some of these tips have been on dealing with anxiety have been really good. Yeah, so thanks for that, Robyn. That's been awesome, your tips. I'm one of those people who can't, Sarah's looking at me, I'm one of those people who can't.
Every used to come to my yoga classes, people would be like, oh, this relaxation is so boring.
Yeah, I'm that.
You need more than anyone else.
Yeah, I'm that person at the end lying there going, when is this going to be over? Oh, God, how long do we have to do this for?
It's interesting, like Robyn doing yin yoga, because I know like there might be people. I'll get you to talk about your class in a minute, because I know that there are big people. I'm thinking of Andrea again. People that try yoga and then say, oh, I don't like yoga. Yoga's not for me. But that's a bit like, for me, it's a bit like saying I don't like fruit when I've only ever had an apple or a banana. So there's so many different styles of yoga, and I also think that you're certainly for me. My yoga has changed as I've gone through all my different life stages. So when I was young, I was into Iyengar, and then I had, you know, I did Ashtanga and power yoga, and never got a chance to do hot yoga, but I would have loved that. And then I moved into kind of, I suppose, more spiritual type of yoga. And I remember trying yin yoga when I was in my 30s, and I hated it because I didn't want to sit still because I like moving. I think that now I'm kind of at the age where I'm heading towards 50. I don't want to do handstands. I don't want to do fast flows and jumping. My body needs to do something that's much, much more restful. My brain needs that now. Yeah. And so that's, for me now, I think yin yoga is fantastic, because it's kind of, I'm not saying that younger people won't need it, but I think, you know, your resonance with yoga might change dependent on where you are in your stage of life, and that's why I think yin yoga is so good, because it's hugely restorative, which I think a lot of us need, particularly when we get to our age in our 40s and 50s, when, as you said before, we're so overwhelmed with responsibility and worry, whether it's our parents or our kids and our partners and work and finance, that we actually need something that's hugely restorative, where we get to just be, because we are so busy doing.
What is
Well,
yin?
it gives you that time to. So yin yoga is mainly floor based. Well, it's kind of based on hatha yoga, so it's a similar poses to what you'd have in hatha yoga, and it's mainly floor based postures that you hold for in stillness. So you try not to move. What you do is the principles of yin are that you come to your edge. And you feel that first point of sensation, and it's about not actually pushing yourself so that you're really feeling pain. So it's finding about where your edge is and where your sensation is in that, and then playing with that, about whether if you step back from stretching it, and you hold it for a period of time. So usually 3 to 8 minutes you can hold some postural changes for. And it's about target areas rather than target poses. So it's not about what you look like in a pose, it's about what area of body that you're getting into. And so everyone's going to look different. Everyone's femur angles as they go into the acetabulum are all different, so everyone looks different. And we offer variations and options for people if some poses are not working for people as well. The reason that you hold it for a period of time is that there's a scientific reason that so what you're doing with yin yoga is that you're getting into the fascia, the ligaments and the tendons. You're getting into the fascia around muscles, but it's not about the muscles, it's about your connective tissue health. And so what happens after 90 seconds is that you activate these things called fibroblasts that lay down more collagen and elastin and start to remodel your body. And you also activate this thing called hyaluronic acid, which brings fluid into your body, removes toxins from all of your tissues, and brings in all this fluidity. So as we're getting ager and we're feeling stiffer and all the toxins too, that's why your mental health can feel a lot better after you do a yin class, is because you're increasing that circulation of things around your body. So fascia is really fascinating. I did my last live on my Wellness Wednesdays on my Dr. Robyn Yoga was on fascinating facts about fascia. When I was at medical school, we used to cut through it and in the body room and didn't think it was really important, but now people are realizing how important it is to keep us upright, to keep us lubricated for all of our health, and it actually as a communication system in our body as well. So the scientific benefits of yin yoga, apart from the fact that you're giving yourself space to slow down and be mindful and look at things, and what I try to do is use my skills that I've learned over 20 years to give people offerings in this class, mindful offerings about ways that they can retrain their brains for more well-being and resilience. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. For me, when I was describing about when I was burnt out, that's when I discovered yin yoga. So it brought me back from that mental total burnout to becoming, and just for me, just resonates. I think, like you said, for some people, you've got to find your thing, really. But yeah, it's transformation. It's been very transformational for me in my own life.
That's great. Where, if people want to find more about yin yoga and find out where you teach it, where could they go?
So my website, Dr. Robyn Yoga, so that's ROBYN yoga. And I'm starting to teach online tomorrow. And I see, Sarah, you signed up. That's awesome. Yeah, so you can book. There's a link on my Facebook page about how you can book. And I know that things are really hard for people at the moment financially. So I've got my normal booking, what I used to charge for my other classes, but I also have got a donation button as well so that people can pay what they can afford, because I'd much rather people get benefits of this transformative practice at this time, then yeah, so that's why I've got that option there as well. So what you do is you just book, and then the email will send you how you can make a donation through PayPal or through my bank account number. But the most important thing is I'd love to see you on the mat for a love to see you on the mat. To join me on the mat. I don't mind about anything. I just like to see people experience what it can bring to their lives.
Sweet. I'll put that link up. And in your Facebook group, you have specific groups where you talk about mindfulness or.
Yeah. So I have a how to cultivate calm for you and your family Facebook group through my Dr. Robyn Yoga, and I talk about mind fitness skills in there. So I have Mindful Mondays, Thankful Thursdays, and Self-Compassion Sundays. But I'm just going, I used to go live on those days, but I've, because of the internet needed around the house at the moment, I'm just doing Wellness Wednesday. So tomorrow morning I'll be talking about, I talk about a topic about yin yoga. I might actually just talk about the take-home messages from this talk and talk about you guys tomorrow on Wellness Wednesdays. And then, 9:30 tomorrow morning is my first class, and then I'll be doing a Tuesday 7 p.m. class as well.
So 9:30.
Because I know a lot of people have gone back to work.
Oh.
Yeah, 9:30 tomorrow. Yeah. So 9 o'clock for the Wellness Wednesdays and 9:30 for the class.
And what? And when was it? When did you say 7 p.m.?
7 p.m. the following Tuesday, and from Tuesdays going forward. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so each week we'll be focused. So there'll be a theme like mindfulness or self-compassion or gratitude.
Oh.
Yeah.
And people can find out a little bit more about those mindful or mind fitness skills that you talked about as well. Start putting into practice. Cool. I'm just having a look, see if don't have any more comments. Ross says yin yoga is amazing, worth your time, I love it. So
yay.
Cool. No more questions. You got anything, Andrea?
Pardon?
You got anything else? I think I've just checked. There's no more comments or questions.
No. There's nothing else. You never know.
Andrea to go.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I do. Yeah. I could. You don't know until you try. The whole being still thing for that long is. I'm definitely.
Like they say, the thing you're resistant to is usually the thing you really need.
I know. It probably is exactly what I need right now, especially having a teenage son at home. It's probably exactly what I need. But I'm happy to give it a go.
You know what?
Sarah can help me.
Well, that'd be awesome. You can always turn off your. But you know what you can do with this medium is you can always turn off your video and then do what you can of it.
She'll be drinking tea and pretending she's doing it, and then she'll put it and she'll be, that was awesome. She'll be on her laptop.
Yeah, my dirty, my little secret before.
You need to put your video on.
I've done that before. I've sneaked off. I snuck off out of a meditation thing. I did the first one.
Did you?
They were doing these meditations, and I thought, I can do that. And so I did the first one, went through the first one, but then I didn't realize that we were then going to have a little break, and then we were going straight into another one. I was like, no. So I just I crawled away so they couldn't see me on the video. I was like, nah, I can't do it. This is just too much. No.
Well, at least you did.
Oh, it's been kind. it's being kind to yourself as well, isn't it? Yeah.
At least I know what you've got to know.
Yeah,
what
it
you
doesn't
like.
resonate with it. There's no point doing it.
No, exactly.
You
But
probably find your mindfulness, you're probably an active relaxer like John Kerwin, your mindfulness, going for your walk with your dog or doing something like that brings you into the present moment, just finding what works for you.
Yeah.
Gardening, a lot of people find gardening quite like that. No, not me either.
You don't have to sit and chant, Andrea. It's all good.
Do you have to chant?
No.
Do you have to chant? If you have to chant, I'm not going.
No chanting, no tea bags.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm tricked and there's chanting,
you're out
there. Yeah. See my video just go off. Yeah. That's all good.
That was awesome, Robyn. Thank you so much. That was even I've learned stuff as well, so I've really enjoyed that, and I've got heaps of things I'm going to take away and do. So I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And I'll make sure that I put the link up for your Facebook group. Did you say is your website? That's all live.
Sorry.
And you said you've got your website as well. So you've got your website and your Facebook group. So
no, my website's not live yet.
Okay, so I'll put the link on your Facebook group, and then people will then know where to go to find you.
Yeah, and they can book through Acuity through that into my class. Yeah, there's a link there.
Awesome. No, thank you very much. Really appreciate that and learnt a lot.
You're welcome.
Oh.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye.
Bye everyone. See you Thursday, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.